For as long as humanity has existed, one question has quietly lingered beneath our existence. How do we truly look to others? Before paintings, before photography, before screens, before the idea of personal identity as we know it today, there was the desire to see ourselves. And from that desire emerged a simple yet transformative invention, the mirror. But the story of the mirror is not simple at all. It is a story shaped by geology, mythology, danger, science, and culture. A story that crosses continents and thousands of years, revealing how a basic reflective surface forever changed the human mind. This is the hidden history of the mirror. Thousands of years before humans crafted the first mirror, nature offered its earliest reflections. A pool of still water was, for many early societies, the first and only way to glimpse oneself. But water reflections were inconsistent, unpredictable with light and movement, never perfectly faithful. Looking into a river or a bowl of water provided a shifting, temporary version of the self, making reflection a fleeting experience rather than a reliable tool. Eventually, ancient peoples discovered that certain stones could be polished to create a more stable reflection. By around 6000 BCE, cultures in Anatolia, Mesopotamia, and the Americas began shaping obsidian, a naturally occurring volcanic glass, into small reflective surfaces. These obsidian mirrors were dark, heavy, and small, yet they were revolutionary. For the first time, a human being could hold their own reflection in their hands. It was not perfect, but it was clear, controllable, and portable. To early civilizations, these mirrors were more than objects. They were believed to contain supernatural power. In many cultures, reflections were seen as extensions of the soul. Some believed a mirror could trap a person's spirit, reveal hidden truths, or even communicate with other realms. In ancient China, people believed mirrors could repel evil, reflecting harmful forces away before they could enter a home. The Aztecs used polished volcanic mirrors in rituals, believing the reflections revealed divine visions. And in ancient Greece, mirrors were connected to prophecy, especially in rituals involving water and reflection. Many modern superstitions, such as the belief that breaking a mirror brings 7 years of bad luck, come from these ancient ideas. To early societies, a mirror was not merely an object. It was an encounter with something beyond the physical world. By around 2000 BCE, civilizations began crafting mirrors from polished bronze, copper, and silver. These mirrors produced brighter reflections than obsidian and could be made larger and thinner. They were admired not only for their function, but for their craftsmanship. Egyptian tombs contained highly polished bronze mirrors, often decorated with ornate handles and symbols of rebirth. In ancient Greece and Rome, hand mirrors became status symbols, carried by the wealthy and used in private grooming rituals. In China, bronze mirrors grew into a massive tradition. The backs were often decorated with dragons, birds, and cosmic patterns. Owners believed that the reflective surface protected them, while the decorative backside narrated their place in the world. Yet metal mirrors had limitations. They tarnished, required constant polishing, and still produced slightly distorted reflections. Still, these early mirrors shaped human behavior. People became increasingly aware of their appearance, introducing new practices of grooming, beauty, and self-presentation. The mirror was slowly influencing culture long before it resembled the object we know today. Everything changed in medieval Europe, specifically on the small Venetian island of Murano, where glassmakers were on the brink of transforming the world. By the 13th century, Venice had become a center of glass innovation. Its artisans developed a method for producing incredibly clear, flawless glass. Then came the breakthrough, coating the back of this glass with a thin layer of metallic mercury. This technique produced the first true glass mirror, with a clarity far beyond anything the ancient world had ever known. These Venetian mirrors were stunning, bright, sharp, and capable of capturing every detail of a face. So valuable were they that a single mirror could cost as much as an entire ship. Owning one became a sign of extreme wealth and privilege. To protect their monopoly, Venetian authorities forbade glassmakers from leaving the island. The penalty for revealing the mirror-making secrets was severe. Yet, inevitably, artisans escaped or were bribed, and knowledge of the technique spread across Europe. By the 17th century, mirrors became symbols of power. Nowhere was this more evident than in France, where the Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles transformed reflective glass into a political statement. The hall's dozens of mirrors reflected light, wealth, and dominance, showing Europe that France was at the height of its influence. Mirrors had moved from sacred tools to royal propaganda, but they were still dangerous to make. The mercury used in mirror production was toxic, causing tremors, hallucinations, and early death among glass workers. For centuries, the quest for perfect reflection came at a deadly cost. The next great transformation came in the 19th century, thanks to the work of the German chemist Justus von Liebig. In 1835, Liebig discovered a process for coating glass with a thin layer of silver instead of mercury. This method was safer, cheaper, and simpler to replicate. It sparked rapid industrialization in mirror production, making mirrors accessible to middle-class families for the first time. Suddenly, mirrors appeared everywhere, in bedrooms, dressing rooms, shops, barber houses, and eventually bathrooms. The mirror was no longer a luxury reserved for elites. It became a household staple, an object people interacted with daily. And with this shift came a profound change in society. As people saw themselves more clearly and more often, beauty standards became sharper and more widespread. Fashion evolved. Personal grooming grew in importance. Artists studied reflections to better understand perspective and realism. Architects used mirrors to expand light and space within buildings. The mirror didn't just reflect individuals, it reflected cultural evolution. By the late 19th century, mirrors contributed to the birth of photography. Cameras relied on reflective surfaces, and photographers used mirrors to compose shots and redirect light. Soon after, advances in optics produced microscopes that revealed microscopic life and telescopes that revealed galaxies. All of these technologies were built on the same fundamental principles as the mirror. The modern world is more dependent on mirrors than most people realize. Every telescope that studies distant planets relies on highly engineered reflective surfaces. Every microscope that investigates the smallest particles uses refined mirror technology. Even smartphones and digital cameras depend on optics derived from centuries of mirror innovation. And yet, the mirror also shapes something far more personal: self-awareness. Psychologists argue that mirrors contribute to our sense of identity. Seeing ourselves regularly shapes how we think, behave, and interact with others. Children develop a sense of self when they recognize their reflection. Adults navigate their appearance, emotions, and confidence through mirrored surfaces. In a way, mirrors helped humans develop the concept of individuality. They allowed people to study themselves not just physically, but emotionally. Artists used mirrors for self-portraits. Writers used them as metaphors for truth and illusion. Philosophers debated what the self really was. Today, mirrors are more abundant than at any other time in history. We see ourselves in bathroom mirrors, store windows, car side mirrors, gym walls, and digital screens. But despite their everyday presence, mirrors still carry traces of their ancient mystery. They still symbolize truth, vanity, self-discovery, and even fear. A simple cold sheet of glass keeps reminding us of who we are and who we try to be. From volcanic stone to polished metal, from dangerous mercury glass to the silver mirrors of today, this invention has followed humanity through every stage of civilization. It has shaped beauty, science, art, and psychology. It has influenced how we design our homes and how we portray ourselves to the world. The mirror is more than just a reflection. It is a quiet companion in the human story, one that has changed the way we see everything. including ourselves. The history of the mirror is not only about technology or craftsmanship, it is about humanity's enduring desire to understand its own identity, to see clearly, to confront the truth of our own image, and to explore both the outer world and the inner one. Thank you for joining this journey through time, because even the simplest objects around us often hide the most remarkable stories.